Family. Welcome to another episode of Homefield, the podcast. And as you can see, I'm not on my living room couch like I usually be. I am in the historic Redmond Potham Gymnasium here on the campus of Muskegon High School. And I got three special guests joining me today. Probably three outside my father, three of the most influential men in my life and who have helped mold me become the man that I am today. I have Cameron Williams, Keith Guy, and Shane Fairfield. Welcome to the show, fellas.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks for having us. Be here, my guy.
Man, I made the joke earlier. I said I got the owner, the GM, and Belichick all in one spot today. So this gonna be a great one, man. This gonna be a great one. So I ain't even gonna hold up. We're gonna go ahead and get right into it. I guess the gist of today's episode is one a point of reflection. You know, this institution, these athletic programs have been second to none, you know, for a great long while. But essentially, since this core group of individuals have put their hands together and their heads together to create something special for this community and for this public school system. But also want to give you guys the opportunity to provide some perspective within the programs, within the institution, and also, you know, kind of differentiate between perception and reality of what kind of goes on behind closed doors within these programs, and how, you know, what perception is to the community, to the outside, and outside opinions versus what the reality is, you know, the day ins and day outs of being, you know, leaders of athletic programs and just leaders within the institution in itself. So since 2012, let's take it back there. Summer 2012, unfortunately, you know, a crosstown institution, you know, was going through some hardship, and which caused some shift in a few things, you know, administration-wise and athletically for sure. That was probably one of the biggest conversations of summer 2012. And then this comes up, you know, KG, you get the opportunity to come to Muskegon High School and take over as the athletic director, head men's basketball coach. Coach Fairfield, you were already here as, you know, on previous staffs, but, you know, I think you were 1 year in as varsity head coach, right? Second year.
2010, and then Coach Guy came in 2012.
Right. So let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about those early conversations, you know, putting your heads together to really figure out what Big Red football, Big Red basketball, and Big Red athletics could look like from that point onward.
It started, we it wasn't always trust thing. I mean, he had to kind of trust me, I had to trust him. I mean, it was one of those things where we were more alike than we were different. You know what I mean? We had the same, when we found out to sit down and talked about it, we met at, what was it, Brands?
Brands. Yeah, that's the first time I had their wings. Now they're closed, but I guess we closed them down. But we did. We met at Brands for the first time.
Yep, and we started talking about, you know, what we could do. And we've always thought, even on my Muskegon Heights days, I always thought that it could be more than just basketball. Mm-hmm. Looking down here at Muskegon, I always thought Muskegon could be more than football. And we just came together and put our egos aside, and we had a vision on what this place could look like and what it could be. It was already a great place. Mm-hmm. So we're not coming in saying that we, you know, made this place a great place. It was already a great place. I thought hopefully we added something to it. Mm-hmm. And the conversation was, hey, we can work together. We can change and be the model of the state. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to come in and mess with you, Shane. Let you do what you do, and I respect your work. He felt the same, and the rest was history. This is where we are. From that conversation, I mean, we're 11, 12 years later. I mean, win this football program, we win this basketball program as far as Division I and basketball, obviously, because, you know, a lot of people, for the viewers who don't know, that for basketball it's 4 champions, so it's 4 divisions, 1 through 4, and for football there's 8 champions, 1 through 8. So. And we've participated in football, fluctuated from 2 to 3. Basketball has always been 1. And since in my tenure we've been in basketball, we've been the number 1 winning this program in the last 10 in the last 5 years. And these guys have kept it going with football, and to what we had, our rich history there. And, you know, we got it going.
It was easy. It was easy when I first met KG. You know, everybody had, once again, this whole show was pretty much about perception. And everybody's perception of Keith was like he's going to steal all the guys from basketball or football, for basketball. He's not going to support football and all those kind of things. But, I'm driven, he's driven. It's called passion for each one of your sports. If you didn't fight for your sport, if you didn't have passion for your sport, and you didn't want to be successful and you're worried about who's in the building, you're not going to be successful. But it was easy. I started that out with easy because at the end of the day, wins, losses, for the love of his sport, it was the love of kids. And you're going to hear that a lot throughout the show, that it's not something that we have to fool ourselves with. Generally, a lot of people say they love their kids. A lot of people say, we care the most about our kids. It's about the kids. It's about the kids. And then you're like, well, you don't see it, per se. Keith truly has lived the same kind of lifestyle I have with having kids live with him and giving kids rides and, putting the kids first. There's not a time where him and I will compete with each other. I'll get done with in the summer. I'll see his car. I'll drive by and I'll check to make sure his car's in his spot. If it's in his spot, I come back in the building and I'm like, you're not going to outwork me today. You know what I mean? So we drive each other. I think we inspire one another. And I think the easy thing when he came in was there was never any, I don't think there was even a feeling out process. I think we both dove in to trust with each other. There was a common person who introduced us together. I value his opinion. He spoke very, very highly of Keith and said this is a good move from Muskegon. Put that, your boldness aside and don't be so hard-headed and listen to this man. And when I think we talked a little bit about where this program could go for football and basketball.
Right.
But I think most of the time we talked about love and caring and expectation of how we were going to treat the kids and what the expectations we were going to have for the kids.
Right. Cam, what were your initial thoughts when everything was going down summer 2012 and the shift was on the brink of happening?
You know what? That's a good question. It was I'll probably say not weird in like a bad way, but like it was the whole, because again, myself growing up, you know what I'm saying? We got like we grew up down here, so we got Port City, played with Port City. Then you went through NPS, you either played for Bunker Steel or whatever, and play that, then you play at Muskegon. So we always had this. As it got older, it got easier. It was a little more, kind of joking, kind of rival, just with, kind of like, all right, downtown hikes type of deal.
You got a whole cousin on the other side of the track.
For sure. But like I said, it got a little bit, as you got older, you understood like, oh, it ain't even really that. But when we was younger, we got label bowls, we got soul bowls. It's like, we not messing with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just how, but it was just kind of that competitive thing. So when everything was, and so growing up, you always would hear like, and if Hikes had, if they had each other's programs or whatever the case is, then, we would be top of the state or,
right.
That's that type of situation. So that was always the kind of, like running joke, kind of like growing up. So when, everything was happening, you just didn't really, I think there was a lot of uncertainty because again, like Coach said, them coming in, they might have had like they said, they didn't really have a filling out process, but everybody else, it's kind of like they don't, you in the barbershops, you hearing whatever, it's like I said, well, Keith gonna come down there and he about to do this, and this, and he about to turn it this way, and it's really about to be orange, and you like, man, what's really going on?
Yeah.
And I was on the staff at the time, but I was coaching freshmen. Me and Dr. Kirk was coaching freshmen at the time.
Yeah.
And but again, I knew KG because again, he like family, right? So and then obviously I coached Fairfield. He coached me since I was 15. So so I had a really good relationship with both of them. So I just long story. I felt that it could be we could get to this point, not really knowing what would happen or kind of how things would fall, and you just hear certain stuff, and still being younger, you're like, man, I don't know what's gonna go on.
Right.
Am I going? I felt safe, but at the same time, you're like, man, I don't know what's gonna go on. But
Right.
But it was a little not uneasy, but you just didn't know which way
like
it
you
could
said
go.
in the beginning, there's a lot of uncertainty there.
Uncertainty, but I knew what it I knew what he could
With
be.
the capabilities,
You know what I'm saying? People thought I was
absolutely.
coming in to check his clean house.
Oh, Coach Prime tip, right? You bringing your luggage. You bringing his luggage. But
I wasn't on that.
As unfortunate as all of that was, that was my biggest dream came true. Because KG, like you said, like Cam said, you family.
Right.
You right? And I used to always say growing up, I'm gonna go to Muskegon in the fall and play Big Red football. And then when winter time comes, transferred, I'm going over the Heights and I'm gonna play with KG and Ty gonna play basketball. My mom being from downtown, my dad being from the Heights, and then both worlds kind of coming together for me. And I say I got my main man here with me, Wood, and that was probably one of the best things that happened to us, right? Because we got the opportunity to transfer in, and I really got my dream to become a Big Red, right, and play Big Red football. Unfortunately, I didn't get the opportunity to play basketball because, I lost passion and some injuries and things of that nature. But that's my biggest regret. I didn't get to play for you, KG.
You got the ring, though.
I got the. Oh yeah. Most definitely got that thing.
Yeah, sure.
But having the opportunity to come and play Big Red football and be a part of your basketball program as a manager, and my homeboy being able to come and play for you after raising us in a sense, man, that was something that I was truly excited about, because I finally got the opportunity to bring both of the worlds that I wanted together. So as on the outside looking in, as you guys were were saying, y'all sit down meetings and conversations, as Cam, as you had the uncertainty as plenty of other people may have had. To other people, that was like, hell yeah, let's go, myself and others. But as y'all mentioned, since 2012, got a couple stats here. Football has had, since you guys have joined forces, football has had 126 wins, 10 district titles, 9 regional titles, 8 state final appearances, 1 state title, 5 player of the year finalists, 3-peat on MLive player of the years, and you currently have 2 guys in the NFL right now on NFL rosters.
Yes, indeed.
And when it comes to basketball, 9 conference titles, most wins in the state from that span of 2012 to 2013, 4 regional championships, 2 state title appearances, and 1 state title and 2 back-to-back Mr. Basketballs. And you just coming off a state title run, your most successful season since 2014 when you won the championship. As you sit and you hear those numbers, and that is put into perspective for you, what does that say to you? What does that success say to you?
Consistency. Mm-hmm. I think doing things the right way, and definitely having a program. I think it's best to have a program versus a team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing is, and I think it starts with the men. I think it starts with you guys. It starts with coaching Jared Pittman, coaching Cam Williams, coaching those guys that, because now I was on the way here, I was thinking, not only in football, but we have so many guys that are doing well in life. Mm-hmm. And I think it's the reason we're so successful is not the X's and O's. Mm-hmm. It's not the playbook. Everyone has one, I think it comes down to the expectation, the accountability, and then of course, just having that standard of excellence as a man, mm-hmm. as doing the right thing in the classroom, at home, being accountable and being trustworthy. Mm-hmm. Those are the men that we are putting in this program is why we're so successful. I mean, there was success before I got here, there'll be success after I leave. I would like to think that the success comes from the year in and year out of having those numbers and the wins. And then if you look at strength of schedule,
right.
I mean, that's even crazy, because I think there was a stat at one time, we talked about those numbers, where they had the top 10 teams in the last 10 years mm-hmm. with most wins. That was us. And then you look at the teams below us, Cedar Springs, Detroit King, De La Salle, DeWitt, mm-hmm. all these teams, Orchard Lake St. Mary's, Detroit Catholic Central. And I was like, those are all guys that have been on our schedule, yeah. So it really makes you feel even better. Mm-hmm. I know KG and I don't want to speak for him really, but I know we speed through season to season. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we don't step back. Mm-hmm. And we don't really realize what we're accomplishing, wins, losses, and records and mm-hmm. numbers. I think it's just, we're so eager to get to the next team, get to the pour our heart and soul into that group. Mm-hmm. But no, it's definitely humbling and honoring to know, and it's not a lot about me. It's a lot about, one, the people we surround ourselves with.
Right.
But then the kids meeting and accepting the standard of excellence that we expect from them.
And I echo what he said. I mean, he's right on. It's about the people that you fortunate enough to work with or alongside them. You know, I mean, we got guys our staff who don't get a lot of credit for what they do, but they do a lot of the behind the scenes work. We have great athletes, great players, and just a great staff. Great, you know, even the teaching staff here, just getting kids, you know, eligible to play
on Friday.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just a lot of people don't understand what it takes at this level to have a successful, not team, but we're talking about programs, and that takes more than just coaches. That takes players. It takes administration, board members, booster club. It takes a community just to have we're just a small part of it, and I would not sit here and say it was all me. I couldn't do that. I couldn't take that. It's all what we have and the people that we have surrounding us and the resources that we have. I remember, just coming here and, we're starting it off and basketball wasn't looked at as, a competitive program, unfortunately. And, people started to buy in. But in order for me to get the success I had to have buy-in from these guys, right? Because they were saying, hey, look, guys, you should go play basketball. You know what I mean? Where at one point it probably was like, maybe not, you shouldn't. So it's total buy-in, and it's the same thing with me now. I tell guys, like, go play football.
Get in that weight room.
Get in that weight room. I mean, we're in the weight room together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like we steal from each other. He is I'm not a big. You can tell. I can tell you a lot about the weight room. I know what a bench press is, and squat and all that.
Rack.
Yeah. I can get you strong or whatever. But like, this guy here, he's like the guru of strength and conditioning. So
Well, he turned me from chubby to handsome, real quick.
See, that's what he do, right? So me, I'm not. I know my strengths are. That's not it. But I kind of piggyback on that. I know if a guy's not doing it right, but I rely on him to make sure that's what it is. That's his job, and I won't step on his toes. And I think our success, number one, I think we should be judged not by just the trophies, but how many lives we impact.
Yeah.
Right? And after it's all said and done, I'll be able to really look at it. I want to be able to say, okay, this kid was better when he left than when he came. Mm-hmm. And it does not mean success is not defined by whether you go to college. Mm-hmm. Because there are some successful people that are doing other things besides, and legal things, besides going to college. You know what I mean? So I am happy about the ones, because we've had several go to college and graduate, and that's what we want to have scholarships and championships, and we're happy about that. But as long as you're successful and contributing to society and doing it the right way, we've done our jobs, and that's what I want to do.
Well, you just had, kind of alluding, getting into my next question. That was going to be my next question was, a lot of people outside opinions, base success on wins, losses, and championships. And, as unfortunate as it is, we've had those opportunities to make it to state finals and not complete the job, right? Mm-hmm. But I think what is wonderful is we're not hanging our hats on those wins and losses when it comes to, state titles and things of that nature. You just had three captains, all part of the National Honor Society, all just graduated, and one of them was a top 10 graduate. You sent individuals off to Ivy League institutions, to go and get, collegiate degrees and be a collegiate athlete. And there's plenty of individuals that I played with who didn't go off to college, or maybe did go and didn't finish, but they're great men, they're husbands, they're fathers, right?
I'm speaking to us right now.
Appreciate it. Or just a productive citizen within whatever community that they in, if not still here. So let's dive into that a little bit deeper. Defining success within your program and not laying it all on wins, losses, and championships.
Well, it's like we talked about. First of all, we want to change the person. Or make the person better.
Right.
The complete person. That means meeting the kids where they are, building relationships, making sure. Okay, there are kids here that struggle, have a rough home life, and we have to be what they don't have. We have to fill in a lot of gaps. And when you can see where a kid started and where he finished, for me, that's what defines success. If the kid is better off when he left than when he came. And I will continue to say that. Like, I love to win. I think I'm addicted to competing. I mean, I got to compete in something. I mean, if your shoes untied, mine is untied, I'll probably try to beat you and tie mine first, right? But I do get that when you're on this level and you're coaching, it's about coaching the total person. I'm not okay with seeing my kid in Walmart and he's not representing us the right way.
Absolutely.
That means we're failing. That means that kid is fooling you and he's only going to do right while you're around. And we know what character is what you do when no one else is watching.
Absolutely.
And so I want to make sure that we build the character. That for me is everything.
Yeah, that's, we're going to sound like a broken record just repeating, but our success, what I like to think about is the guys like Andrew Ward, who's in Vegas right now.
Yeah.
Who had one of the hardest roads of anybody that I've had come
Happy
through
birthday,
here.
Drew.
So Drew and I talked last night, of course, when I went out to Vegas and saw Drew, hung out for a little bit, we went to dinner. But so success is, everybody bases on football. And we always say that if we want these young men to use football, use basketball. Don't let basketball and football use you. We want the state championship runs. We want the regionals, the districts, the conference championships, the all-state honors. We want those things to be an awesome and an amazing experience in their life. But if that's the greatest thing that happens to them in their life, then we're failing them as coaches.
Right.
But for Drew to really solidify what we're doing and how we're doing it, Drew, who had a nice story written about him as a freshman when he was evicted, and there were some things that went on, and the young man was missing school and was bouncing around and with his family trying to find stability, and then he went on to Nebraska. Then he had a hard run there, which I think a lot of kids, when a college coach comes in and tells you you can't play for me, you better transfer. Then he transferred to Central, and then he starts at Central, and then he breaks his neck, in a play against Bowling Green. But most kids, I think, if we're not instilling life to them, when he couldn't play football anymore, most kids, I believe, in most areas, stopped going to school.
Right.
It's like, that's why I was here. Football is why I was here. It's all I've got in my life. And if we tell them that that's all they have, then we're doing them a disservice. So I think success for him in our program is then watching him finish 2 more years of college.
Right.
Okay, graduate with honors and cords, and then go get accepted into a graduate program at Kansas, and then decide to go out to Vegas and start a business that he's working out there in right now. As a man, as a kid who was not, a little Detroit Lion hoodie wearing everyday kid to,
I remember that.
to a successful man on his own. So to me, I think that's how we measure our successes. Is if they're done playing football, if they're done playing basketball, can they live life to the fullest? Do they understand what it really means? And I think that's how we define for us is can they survive, and are they really understanding the most important things in life, and that is family, love, faith. And the success is, being a hard worker and a contributor to society and making a difference in your family's lives. And that's what he does for his brother, Manny. So that I have several more of those. I know we're on an hour show. But to me, that's why I do what I do, is to be able to see a kid not be involved in a sport anymore, and then go on and be successful as a man. And Ramel Roundtree's the other. I could go about him and his career and his knee and Saginaw Valley and graduating and now working in the governor's office. You know what I mean? So a couple degrees, I think.
He has put it.
Yeah, he has degrees. So football was taken from him, and he turned on, and he has a couple degrees now. And so we could go on and on.
See, that what makes me mad about how society tried to diminish sports and athletics. Because I think playing sports and how it impacted my life and made me more disciplined. I think it made me a problem solver. It made me a lot of different things just growing up playing the sports, And, I think we have to do a better job. I know people mad that the athletes get paid big bucks, and I can't be mad at them for that. I mean, but I'm saying on the purest form, when we're talking about high school athletics, you know, it's very, very important
It
in
builds
my
a
life.
foundation, man.
It builds a foundation, and I'll say this: we talk about this all the time. If we could choose door number one, win as many state championships as possible, or number two, get kids scholarships and give them a better life, we would take door number two every time. We'll lose these championships.
And knowing that we're going to take darts.
Right.
We're taking darts and shots and knives in our back doing so, but we will fall on that sword if it means the kid's success as a man. Definitely. You can tell we talk about it all the time.